Imagine a single chip more powerful than the combined computing capacity of entire nations just 20 years ago. A single chip powering artificial intelligences that write poetry, detect cancer, and drive cars on their own. And a single company makes that chip: NVIDIA. In 2024, NVIDIA's market capitalization briefly surpassed $3 trillion. $3 trillion. That made it more valuable than Apple, Microsoft, and even the entire economic output of France. But how do you get there? How does a small startup from Silicon Valley become one of the most valuable companies on Earth? The answer lies in a decision made over 30 years ago by 3 engineers sitting in a diner in San Jose. It's 1993. The dot-com bubble hasn't started yet, the internet barely exists, and Jensen Huang, a 30-year-old engineer born in Taiwan, is sitting with 2 colleagues discussing an idea almost nobody would understand. The idea was simple but ambitious: build a chip dedicated entirely to graphics, a graphics processing unit, or GPU. His co-founders were Chris Malachowski and Curtis Preen. Both were experienced engineers from Sun Microsystems. Together, they founded NVIDIA. The company's name came from NV, an internal abbreviation for next version, combined with the Latin word invidia, meaning envy. They wanted competitors to be jealous. They started with just $40,000 in capital, 3 employees, and no office, but they had a clear vision. NVIDIA's early years were far from glamorous. Their first product, the NV1, was a technical experiment. It worked, but it wasn't compatible with Microsoft's emerging DirectX standard. That mistake nearly doomed the company. By 1995, NVIDIA was running out of money. The company reportedly had only a few months of cash left. Jensen Huang faced a difficult decision: shut down or take one last risk. He chose the risk. NVIDIA rushed development of a new graphics chip called the Riva 128. It was DirectX compatible, affordable, and fast. When it launched in 1997, it became an instant success. More than 1 million units were sold within 4 months. NVIDIA had survived, and now things were about to change. In 1999, NVIDIA released the GeForce 256 and called it the world's first true GPU. The term itself was a marketing success, but the technology was equally important. Games suddenly became more immersive. Real-time lighting, shadows, reflections, and detailed textures transformed what players could experience. Gamers embraced the change, and NVIDIA quickly became a dominant force in the industry. Its biggest rival was ATI Technologies, a company later acquired by AMD. The GPU wars had begun. For years, NVIDIA and ATI competed fiercely. Every new generation of hardware pushed graphics technology further. Gamers benefited, and NVIDIA generated billions in revenue. But Jensen Huang was already looking beyond gaming, much further. In 2006, NVIDIA made what would become the most important decision in its history. The company introduced CUDA, short for Compute Unified Device Architecture. Instead of limiting GPUs to graphics rendering, NVIDIA allowed developers to use them for general-purpose computing. The idea was revolutionary. GPUs contain thousands of smaller processing cores capable of handling many tasks simultaneously. This parallel processing approach works perfectly for graphics, where millions of pixels must be calculated at the same time. But NVIDIA asked a bigger question. What if those same processors could be used for scientific research, physics simulations, genome sequencing, and machine learning? At the time, most people didn't see the value. Many thought it was unnecessary, but Jensen Huang believed the future would eventually catch up. NVIDIA invested billions of dollars into CUDA and the surrounding software ecosystem, despite having no guarantee that the investment would pay off. For years, it seemed like a gamble. Then came 2012. On September 30th of that year, researchers from the University of Toronto unveiled a neural network called AlexNet. The system achieved a breakthrough in image recognition, outperforming competitors by a huge margin. Its secret wasn't just the algorithm, it was the hardware. AlexNet was trained using 2 NVIDIA GTX 580 graphics cards running CUDA. That achievement changed everything. Researchers around the world suddenly realized that GPUs weren't just useful for gaming. They were ideal for training deep learning models. Universities wanted them, startups wanted them, technology companies wanted them, and NVIDIA was perfectly positioned because it had spent years building the tools and infrastructure required to support AI development. The gamble from 2006 had finally paid off. Then came another turning point. In November 2022, OpenAI launched ChatGPT. The response was unprecedented. 1 million users joined within 5 days. Within 2 months, that number exceeded 100 million. Suddenly, every company wanted artificial intelligence, and every company needed the hardware capable of training and running advanced AI models. That hardware came from NVIDIA. The company's flagship AI processor, the H100, became one of the most sought-after pieces of technology in the world. Each unit cost tens of thousands of dollars, yet demand far exceeded supply. Microsoft bought them, Google bought them, Meta bought them, Amazon bought them. Even companies developing competing AI systems depended heavily on NVIDIA's hardware. Waiting lists stretched for months. Supply shortages became common. Countries competed for access to advanced AI chips. NVIDIA's financial performance exploded. Quarterly revenue surged from a few $1 billion to numbers that had once seemed unimaginable. By June 2024, NVIDIA briefly surpassed both Apple and Microsoft in market value, reaching more than $3 trillion. Behind this extraordinary rise stands one man, Jensen Huang. Born in 1963 in Tainan, Taiwan, Huang moved to the United States as a child. His early life was modest. As a teenager, he worked in restaurants and laundries. Those experiences helped shape the work ethic that would later define his leadership style. Today, Jensen Huang is instantly recognizable for his trademark black leather jacket. What truly separates him from others is his ability to think long-term. He still owns a significant stake in NVIDIA, making him one of the wealthiest people in the world. But those who know him often say that technology, not wealth, remains his primary motivation. But despite its dominance, NVIDIA faces significant challenges. Competition is increasing. AMD has introduced powerful AI accelerators. Intel continues investing heavily in artificial intelligence hardware. Meanwhile, some of NVIDIA's biggest customers are building their own custom chips. Google has its TPUs. Amazon has Trainium. Microsoft is developing specialized AI hardware as well. Reducing dependence on NVIDIA has become a priority for many technology giants. There are geopolitical risks too. The United States has restricted exports of NVIDIA's most advanced chips to China, one of the company's largest potential markets. While NVIDIA has developed modified versions for compliance, the impact is still substantial. And finally, there is manufacturing. NVIDIA designs its chips, but production relies heavily on TSMC in Taiwan. Any disruption to that supply chain could have enormous consequences. Yet regardless of future challenges, NVIDIA's story offers valuable lessons. First, major technological revolutions often begin long before the world notices them. CUDA launched in 2006, years before artificial intelligence became mainstream. Second, NVIDIA didn't just create hardware, it built software, tools, frameworks, and a developer community around its technology. That ecosystem became one of its greatest strengths. Third, setbacks do not define the future. NVIDIA nearly collapsed in 1995. Today, it stands among the most valuable companies in history. And finally, long-term thinking matters. Jensen Huang consistently focused on where technology would be years ahead, not where it was today. NVIDIA's journey is still far from over. With new generations of AI chips, autonomous vehicles, robotics, and intelligent agents, the company continues to shape the future of computing. Will NVIDIA become the first $10 trillion company in history? Only time can answer that question. But one thing is certain. The world of tomorrow is being built on NVIDIA technology. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe for more stories about the world's most fascinating companies. See you in the next one.